Hello and welcome to Legalbytes. If you're new here, my name is Alita. I'm a lawyer licensed in California and DC, and on this channel, we explain the law one bite at a time. We don't give legal advice, but we do talk about how the law works and try to look into our crystal ball to see how things might turn out. If you're enjoying this on YouTube, we'd love it if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with friends, all the great YouTube-y stuff. And if you want to listen while out and about, we're now offering our live streams in podcast form where you can leave a rating and review. Links are in the description below, as well as to our clips channel where you can find some of the best clips taken from our live streams. Otherwise, if you want to catch me elsewhere, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so on Locals, Patreon, or by becoming a YouTube member, or by buying some really awesome Legalbytes merch. Again, all links are in the description below. And with that said, let's get into it. Alrighty. Hey guys, welcome back. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. It is maybe morning, maybe afternoon for you. For me, it is just about a couple hours before I need to head to the airport. I'm still maybe not actually packed. So I wanted to make this super quick because I promised that I would go through the last of the super chats from the last live stream. We still had like 22 of them left. I wanted to keep my promises and I wanted to do this before I left. And yeah, because I'm going to be packing up my studio, taking it with me over to the States. I'm flying to the United States. I'll be there for a bit. So, yeah, I'm not a huge planner when it comes to like traveling because I've gotten to a point where I feel like I can just sort of hop in and gather my stuff and then go. And I think, but this is probably the most I've procrastinated planning for traveling. I actually almost forgot to get a PCR test. Almost. But anyhow, enough about my hot mess of a day. But let's get to these super chats from the other day. And also I've got this one from Andy the Game Maker, my big brother. Thank you, Andy. Thanks so much. He says this live stream won't like itself. I appreciate that, Andy. So yes, that is a nice little reminder that if you guys enjoy these live streams, if you want to like the video, that's one of the best ways for you guys to show your appreciation, because it does help push all of our content into the ether in front of more eyeballs and see if people want to come and hang out with us. So, anyhow, yeah. So, yeah, let's jump into it, shall we? Oh, and actually before I start, so I know that today there was, I guess this morning, I see a super chat about it right here. Have you seen Camille and Ben? Yes, I have seen. I think that they've actually done a couple interviews now. I saw the one with George Stephanopoulos. I thought they did a great job. I really did. But I'm not quite prepared to sit down and comment on the full thing since, like I mentioned, I'm a little short on time today. But maybe when I'm en route or something in transit, if I have some downtime, maybe to talk about it on a live through I don't know, my phone or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But otherwise, I did see it. I thought they did a great job. I think that it's smart to wait a little bit so that you can plan what it is that you're going to be saying rather than maybe doing what the other side decided to do. But overall, yes, I did. And also, Geo in Love 100, yes. Talking about the Pitt v. Jolie trial. That case, I have talked about it a little bit in the past. I think it was like last February or something. I think it was in February when I first caught wind of their issue with how she was selling her share to someone else. And how Brad Pitt was upset about that because he said that he was supposed to have a right of refusal, right? Or at least an option to buy her shares from her first. So it's a very interesting case. And I want to first get my hands on some of the original documents rather than just the media reports, right? Because we all know we can't necessarily trust what the media says about it. But I have gotten some interesting tidbits that lead me to think that maybe this is it may not be coming directly from some contract language like I would have thought, at least Brad Pitt's claims. Anyhow, So, and with that, I'm going to turn back to the rest of the super chats from before. I'll be saving these other ones from. I see you, L Wolf Tax Lady. I'll catch yours after I get the rest of these over here. So let me just pull these up. Here we go. Whoop. Yeah, let's do it like this. Cool. Alrighty. Cy Boozled says, maybe not knowingly false, but reckless toward the truth of the matter. So I can't remember exactly which statement we were talking about. We may have been talking about Elaine Bredehoft and her statements to the press, and I was talking about how it could actually be the case that she is making some similar statements to the press, like what Adam Waldman ended up getting sued for. Or I guess Adam Waldman technically wasn't sued. Johnny Depp was sued, but it was Adam Waldman's statements that sort of landed him in that position. So it was very interesting, but it could very well be. Could very well be. It was about the verdict for Amber on Waldman, is what Cybles will say. Okay, great. I'm so glad that you're right here about the verdict for Amber on Waldman. Yeah, so maybe the okay, so I see what you're suggesting is that it may have been the case that the jury decided that maybe he was a little bit reckless in what he was saying about those facts. That could be. That could very well be the case, because that probably is the best that they could surmise. But even still, they have to, I mean, if they don't have, I mean, we still don't have facts showing that he was reckless. You can maybe fill in a gap, but you're not supposed to fill in a gap of evidence that isn't there, right? It's still very questionable to me about that. But anyhow, let me get the next one. But that's a very good point there. John Hayek says, Alita, check your Twitter messages regarding a possible collaboration. Hayek, John, thanks. Okay, thank you. I have gotten quite a few, but let me write it down here. Okay. And if you are seeing this now, maybe DM me again so it comes to the top of my DMs also. Because that way I can, just in case something has happened, or in case I've gotten a bunch since then, and it's somehow been buried in other DMs. Okay, Nagira says, always wondered, are the court transcripts public to read after trial is over, or are they sealed? My understanding is that they typically are not sealed. However, you have to pay for them. They tend to be pretty expensive. So if you can pay for it, you can get them. Next one is Vicky Meldrew says, can you look into Pitt and Jolie? Amber stands are comparing. Yes. Yeah. This one is, I'm very curious. Like I said before, I've looked into it a little bit before. But it's getting more and more interesting. Right. So yeah, it's one that has definitely come up in the last day or so, for sure. Soaring Kite says, Alita, how can you put up with Kurt's vulgar comments? Seriously, talking about a women's time of the month. How sexist can you get? Why do you continue to overlook this kind of behavior? So I will say, I'll address this, because I know that I've gotten a number of comments from people asking about Kurt in particular, some of the comments that he's made in the past. So for one thing, Kurt is a really great friend. He has been a really great friend throughout basically my entire time on YouTube. I first met him a year ago and some change, and he's always been a really great fellow YouTuber, fellow lawyer. He's always been very helpful to me, and he's proved to be a really good friend even through some very hard times. So I will say that what I see as, I understand why his comments and his style is not necessarily for everyone. And I've also talked to him throughout some of the comments that he's made that I know that a lot of people react to on this channel. And the thing is that I have personal conversations with him offline about a lot of these comments, and a lot about a lot of these things that he said in the past. And he's always very receptive to it. So, a lot of people can be turned off by some of the stuff that he says, and I understand that. However, just because I'm not necessarily admonishing openly, publicly, or anything like that, on the live stream in the moment doesn't mean that I'm not having conversations with my various friends, if people are having a reaction to certain things. So, I get not everybody likes it, but some people do. Some people appreciate the fact that he's totally unvarnished. Um, so my recommendation would be take take his humor with a grain of salt. Um, and he is who he is, right? He's very open about that. But at the same time, um, I understand. I understand these comments too. And just know that we have conversations about this kind of stuff all the time too. And he's also very, very respectful of the fact that, that not everybody on my channel really appreciates that style too. So anyhow. Nick Wilson says, "Hey, Alita has Holmes. P.S. Mike, you done some work." Sorry, Mike's not here to see this one. Holmes is great. He's living his best life as always. So, yeah, he's doing great. Thanks. Don Hinton says, "Question: I'm starting to think the knife gift and other knives were a veiled threat, a la Bobbitt. Thoughts?" I think if you're referring to the gift that Amber Heard gave to Johnny with the words "Hasta la muerte." Yeah, I would agree. That was definitely my impression from the very beginning when I saw that. So, yeah. Mateliare says, "Uncivil, yes. 2 doctors, other doc had a better resume." This was referring to the whole Dr. Spiegel issue, right? That people have suggested that maybe the Dr. Spiegel that showed up was possibly the wrong one, that maybe they meant to reach out to a different one. I have no idea if that's true, but if that is, I don't know. That would be a very interesting analysis into you know, uh, possible malpractice claims. I don't know. Peggy Reardon says the UK judge believed that drug and alcohol use automatically made JD's testimony unreliable. That would not happen here. Yes, that's another difference. That is another difference between the UK and here, because that was a very strong point that they made during this trial, right? Is to say, like, you're not saying that like drugs always do that, right? Because that was what Dr. Spiegel was saying, and he came off as totally incredible, right? Like not a credible witness. Yeah, and that was not something that really worked in this particular case in Virginia. Angela says, "Is Elaine borderline too, or is she just a liar?" So I would hesitate before over psychologizing people, if that makes sense, or over diagnosing or overusing diagnoses. I know that it's a really big buzzword that has come up throughout this trial. And so, it's one of those things like when you find out that, like, your sister or sister-in-law is pregnant, like all of a sudden you see pregnant women everywhere, because it's just like on the front of your brain, like you see something, or like you buy a certain type of car, right? And then all of a sudden, like you see that car everywhere. So I would just caution from people from over diagnosing people, just because this is something that we have focused on so much throughout this trial. I think that Elaine is just doing what she's doing, and maybe not being the most responsible advocate is how I would put that. Dancing Beagle says, "As an IPV survivor, I don't think the outcome of this trial would be a factor in coming forward, but the fear of having to be crossed by someone like Camille might. She was good, almost too good." That's a fair point. That is a fair point. But what I would do is, if I'm an attorney in the field, I would say, like, yes, you will be put under pressure. You will be put under pressure, but you are telling the truth, unlike Amber Heard. And the effect of a cross-examination by someone like Camille is going to be entirely different when you are telling the truth, because having that kind of pressure and coming out of it on top of that, is it makes your testimony look even more credible. Because you could also put the shoe on the other foot, right? Because Johnny Depp was put under pressure during his cross-examination. His cross by Rottenborn wasn't exactly a walk in the park either, right? It wasn't exactly the same as going through a cross by Camille, but at the same time, like, he was still put under a lot of pressure. They played some recordings that were very, very difficult for him to go through. So keep that in mind also. Sheila M says, please put the EB's interview just to see Rob piss again. Seriously, he gave a great message to real DV, SV, and DA survivors. He did. He did. And I shared that video as well. He had a fantastic message. I shared it on Twitter. I'll probably have to link that. I'll link that one in the description of this one if I have a chance as well. So thanks, Sheila. Candy Dodge says, can you cover the Paul Torres case? It's coming up soon. Check out the Your Own Backyard podcast. Okay, people have talked about the Your Own Backyard podcast. I can't remember if it was in reference to the Paul Torres case or if it was something else, but I will make a note of that one too. Okay. Okay, cool. H Smith 9999 has a link to Hollywood New York Post article about Hollywood law firms battling to hire Camille Vasquez after John. Yes, have you seen this yet? I did. I browsed through it kind of quickly, but I did see that it was very interesting to see that a lot of people were battling to um, have Camille at their firms and in other places around Hollywood. That's super awesome. Great for her. And it looks like, instead she's sticking around where she is and she made partner halfway through the year. It's awesome. Sia 2018 says real-time crowdsourced contributions to Depp Heard trial via social media, Rob's video, tug, etc. was astounding. A historic first. Possibly. I mean, it's very, very interesting to see how social media can actually contribute to the developments of a lawsuit like this or of a trial like this. We saw that a little bit in the Rittenhouse trial as well. But this was very interesting to see how it contributed to the overall litigation. Alrighty. LB says Johnny Depp is on TikTok. I'm late, but so excited. Yes, I heard about that too. I haven't seen his first TikTok, but I know a bunch of people sent it to me by DMs. And I haven't had a chance to actually sit down and take a look at it. But because I'm not on TikTok myself, so I've got to go back and find it again. But I heard that it was a nice thank you to everybody. But yeah. Heather White says, do you plan on covering the Lori Vallow Chad Daybell case in January? Please. Thank you for all your coverage. I have learned so much about the law. I know that Kurt Uncivil Law, he's planning to live stream that trial. I think that yeah, we're probably all going to be joining onto his channel for that. So stay tuned for that one. I know a lot of people have been asking about it. Peter Burkhart says, can AH legal team face legal consequences for submitting duplicate photos claiming separate violent incidents? Maybe, but you'd have to show that they knew that they were duplicates, that they knew. It's much more likely that they won't get some sort of legal consequences, because you can also have attorneys say, I'm relying on the information that I was given for purposes of evidence and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like it's attorneys can make mistakes. And especially when it comes to something like duplicate evidence, I don't know. It's possible. But I think that, but the level to which they did in this one, maybe. But again, you'd have to show that there was some sort of knowledge, some sort of intent involved in it. And I don't see anybody pressing them for that, especially when the Depp team is just going to want to continue walking with their win, basically, is most likely the case. Lamat says, can someone please, PLS, please make a vid breaking down the misrepresentations and rot in Denmark's article. Contains all fallacies in one article. Oh, I haven't seen that one. Let me take down the name at least. But I'll see if I can check it out. If I've got a moment to do that, I'll see. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. 2012 Jameson says, I hope you can help me get in touch with Andrew. Yes, I will have to do that. Doug Blask says, how would Rob defend Camille if she's charged for the murders she committed on live TV? I get it. I get it. The murders being like, murders during her cross-examination and whatnot. That's good. That's a good one. I don't know how Rob would defend her, but I guess we'll have to ask when he's back on at some point. I'm sorry for not showing this when he was here. Influences by Ariadne Jacob says, "Thank you, Alita, for shining a light on Lorenz's reporting practices. Entrepreneurs should be allowed to succeed without bullies rewriting their stories." Yes, yes. Thank you so much for that super chat. And I know you've got a suit against her. And so some folks have sent me the filings for it. So I'm curious to look into it for sure. And I know you've been through a lot there as well personally. So that's the last of the old super chats. Now we've got a few new ones here, and a few new questions in the chat as well. Andy the Game Maker, this live stream won't like itself. Thank you. Thanks, Andy. L Wolf Talks Lady says, what is your overall opinion of the JD and AH trial? I think that overall it was a tale of two parties, you could say, instead of a tale of two trials, like Elaine Bredehoff likes to characterize the two trials between the UK and Virginia. I think that Johnny Depp's side did a fantastic job of putting on a good case. They had really good facts, and I think that the overall, I mean, it showed. And they also had better organization and everything. So I think overall it was a good trial. The other side, they had some good lawyering. Rottenborn is a good attorney. He's a good litigator, good trial attorney. And Elaine had her moments. She had some good moments overall. I don't know why she's the one that did the press tour. Yeah. Law and Lumber says, Legalbytes, easy to defend Camille. It was a justified verbal slaughter. Okay, there you go. Thanks, Rob. Dana Bean says, they have pics lately. Oh, of Brad and Jay. Okay. Interesting. Contenta 1979. Thanks so much for the super chat. Content in 1979 says, blasphemy. We love Kurt. I know. And it's tough when not everyone understands his sense of humor, and it doesn't, and not everybody has the same sense of humor. And I get that. I understand that it's not for everyone. But I will say that at his true heart, he is a good guy. He's a very good friend, and he's a very intelligent, bright lawyer. And he's a fantastic person to have on, especially for his legal analysis. So yeah. Hillary says, despite the circumstances, I was beyond excited to see you on Breaking Points. It was amazing to see two of my favorite channels come together. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I was thrilled when they asked me to come on and to talk about the whole situation, and then also to talk about the Depp v. Heard case. And so I was very excited to have that opportunity, because I'm a fan of their channel as well. So yeah, it was great. Thank you. Barbie doll 4257. Thanks so much for the super sticker. Against the Tide says, Legalbytes question, are you going to cover the Johnny Depp versus Greg Brooks case? There is proof Brooks lied. Camille Vasquez will be one of Depp's attorneys. Yes, this is one that I'm very interested in keeping track of as well, because I understand that this is one that Greg Brooks has against Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is a defendant there. That Greg Brooks says that he physically assaulted him while on set for, I can't remember which movie, but and I did see in the filings that Camille has been the one representing him in Los Angeles for that case. So it'll be very interesting to see if that settles or if it actually goes to trial. It's set for trial on July 25th. Unfortunately, I won't be in the States anymore at that point, but I've considered flying back just to go and watch it myself. I don't know. I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess you could say. But we'll see. I'm definitely interested in following it, though, for sure, because that's another one that's very interesting to me. And I think, that's the last one. That's the very last one. So, and here's Pamela C has a question. Have you seen the interviews of JD's attorneys? I saw one of them, the one with George Stephanopoulos. I think they did a fantastic job. And I think, at least from what I saw, that's basically like the good job overall is my impression from it, from from watching it very quickly earlier today. I don't really have much time to jump into the full, like a full analysis of all of the things that they said, but definitely much better than Elaine Bredhoff's um, statements that she made across a bunch of different bunch of different channels and whatnot. So anyhow, well, that's all of them. But I appreciate you guys jumping in. This is a super short stream, right? It's like almost like not even 30 minutes and we're done. But I really wanted to get the get these super chats in, and we've got a couple more before we head out. But yeah, just wanted to get these in because I made a promise to go over them. I'm really sorry that I didn't even get through them yesterday, but I ended up going on Boss Attorney Bree's channel to talk about the Mariah Carey lawsuit that she's being sued for all I want for Christmas is you. um which is wild because it's been out for almost 30 years. Anyhow, we broke that down yesterday and basically decided it's a terrible case and we'll probably get a motion to dismiss and may get dismissed on, I mean, statute of limitations issues. Like that's what comes to mind, number one. But anyhow, Cameron Hanners says, question, are the lawyers licensed in Virginia? If you're talking about the lawyers that were representing Johnny Depp and Amber Heard at trial, not all of them are. Camille, for example, is licensed in California, but there are some limited exceptions that allow someone to essentially airdrop in for one specific case. And I think because she's been on representing Johnny Depp in California for so long that it probably made sense to them to have her come in pro hac vice, or pro hac vice, depending on your jurisdiction and your local way of saying it. There's a lot of different ways that people can pronounce that, but basically that means parachuting yourself in just for a limited purpose for one case without having to get licensed there. Gabriella, sorry. Okay, I'm I'm tapping it at the same time as the Muffin Man is in the background. Gabriella says, "What I will miss most after this is Alita's Elaine impression." Well, I mean, maybe it'll just get inspired, moving forward. Who knows? Who knows? At some point, it might just come out of nothing, out of nowhere. Who knows? It'll just be like a tale of two trials. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing, but that's I appreciate your appreciation of the impressions. T in Tennessee says the media supporting her has stunned me. Yeah, me too, because it's not based in fact, right? Andy the Game Maker says this channel can't subscribe itself. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, if you guys are watching this, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It does, help to have the channel grow and whatnot. But thanks, Andy, for promoting that. Stargazer says, really need help figuring out the ACLU. Been a lifelong supporter, now 69. This month I canceled my support. Can you guys do a show on alternatives to the ACLU? Huh. That could be yeah, possibly we could. I mean, that's or maybe even just, mentioning on Twitter or something, different organizations. I don't know, but that's an interesting thought for a discussion to have, for some alternatives. I am Veggie says, question, next trial or story to cover / stream. Was there ever an Alita's impression of Elaine's impression of Johnny, by the way? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I may have. I may have done an impression of that when she was like, oh God, what did she say? Something about like, you'll never see my eyes again. It was like, what did he say that one time when he said, "You'll never see my eyes again"? It's like her voice is a little bit low, and then it gets even lower when she mocks Johnny Depp. So I don't know. It's that I'm starting to really get the back of my throat, and it gets even more difficult to go that much lower. But anyhow, the next story is going to be Manson. It's been it's been referenced so many times in this trial that it's something that we probably should talk about a bit, right? I mean, I'm curious, aren't you? So I'm planning to record a video talking about the basics of his defamation case. What is he alleging against Evan Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore? And what are some of the bases for that? And is there any merit to those claims? We shall see. I just barely kind of dipped my toes in the water on that one. But so far, I'm already seeing things that are very, very interesting, even just coming out of that complaint on its own. Bettel says you guys should show this video of a school principal from India being beaten by his wife brutally by a cricket bat. It's online. Holy crap! Well, I will say I probably it probably would be better for me not to show that on a stream like this because it would be instantly demonetized and maybe get some issues with how YouTube would view my channel, because that would be quite violent most likely. But I'm really sorry to hear that. That's pretty 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 terrible. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So, but I think, is that the last one? That must be the last one. But anyhow, I appreciate all of you guys for hopping on with me. I know this was super last minute, and this has been super quick. It's been about 30 minutes, and yeah, thanks, you guys. I love it. Thank you to everyone who super chatted. Thank you to everybody for watching, for showing up in the chat, for engaging, hitting the like button. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you guys understand that. I love each and every one of you, and I'm just so happy that I've got people that like to show up midday like this, even when I don't necessarily have a ton of content that I'm planning on doing here. And we'll get one more before we go. Bonnie Scotland says, question, Alita, if you had been AH's lawyer, how would you have handled AH hijacking her case? What would you have done? It is so difficult to try to figure out exactly what I would do because I don't know what happened behind the scenes, right? So it's tough. It's really tough, and especially when you're talking about a 6 to 8 week trial, basically, where everyone is exhausted. I mean, we were exhausted just covering the trial. Can you even imagine how exhausted they were actually putting the trial on? I cannot even imagine just how exhausting that all was. And so trying to deal with somebody who is trying to come in and, I mean, not trying to come in. I mean, this is like the central person in your case. It's the person that you're actually representing. If they don't trust you, I mean, that's one of the big things here, right? Is that it seems from the outside that there was not a lot of trust in that relationship for whatever reason. And I don't know where that would have broken down. I'm hypothesizing here about the trust aspect. So, I don't want to speculate too wildly about what happened and then what I would have done differently. But I guess one of the first things is trying to sort of like repair that feeling of trust and to, I don't know, I guess allow them in on the strategy of what it is that you're doing. It's tough though. It's really tough when you've got something like that. So anyhow, with that, thank you guys. Oh, I love all the blue hearts in the chat. You guys are wonderful. So anyhow, I'm gonna head out now and actually go and pack my things. Yeah. I will see you guys in the next video. All right. Bye.